Hey, Steve Stine from GuitarZoom here, and today what we're going to be doing is looking at the melody for Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton. This is a really great one to learn if you're kind of new to doing some soloing and you're trying to develop various techniques like bending or vibrato, that sort of thing. And the other thing I think is really great about this is it gives you an opportunity to start looking at where on the guitar you would like to place this idea. For me, it's not always about where the artist played it, but more where it feels most comfortable for you and why you would choose that. So that's what we're going to talk about. So what we're going to do here first, let me just kind of show you the melody here. Let me switch over to this camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the 10th fret of the second string, and I'm going to bend that up a whole step. And then I'm going to drop down to the 8th fret and then go back. Maybe add a little vibrato there. Then I'm going to do the same thing. But the second time, I'm going to head down to the 9th fret of the 3rd string right there. So I'm going a bend, whole step bend. And then I'm going to go back and do this again, but I'm going to stop on the 8th fret there. So I've got 10 going down to 8, and then eventually down to the 9 here. Second phrase. Third phrase, I'm going to stop. And this is where I've got some options of things I could do. I could go to the 10, 12, 8 on the first string, then slide from 10 to 12, and then back to the 10. So it would sound like this. Now, the only thing with doing it on the first string is, of course, it sometimes is a little bit harder to do a vibrato on that first string if you're not comfortable with it. So another option you would have would be to do something like this. Go up to the 12, go up to the 13, then go up to the 15 and slide to the 17 and then back to the 15 there. So it would look like this. Now, what you'll notice is in order for me to do that, I'm doing a lot of work with my third finger. When I was here, it was more of what we call a positional thing where I could stay here. Now I could shift over to my first finger and then head back to my first finger right there after that slide with my third finger. And it makes it a little more comfortable where when you do it this way, your third finger's doing a lot of work, and that's okay. It's just for you to be aware of that. So I'm going to show you something else here. Let's say we like this idea, but instead of starting here on the 10th fret of the second string, what I'm going to do is start on the 14th fret of the third string, because that note is the same. So I could start here on 14 and do my bend here. And if I do that, there's two things I'm going to immediately notice. Number one, it's a little bit easier to bend because I'm on the third string now. So the string has more flexibility. And the second thing is, it's going to be a little bit meatier in tone. It's going to be a little bit thicker because of that third string. So there's a tone, or what we call timbre, to this that is a little bit different. So instead of playing from the second to the first string and dealing with that higher pitch, or I shouldn't say higher pitch, but that thinner timbre or thinner tone, now that I'm on the third string, now I could take this idea that I was doing down here, but instead of having to use my third finger for everything moving up, I could go to my first finger here because I'm in this position. So notice I'm using first and second, then my third. So that's something else that you can do too. Let me switch back there. Is you'll choose a position. Again, maybe it's not where Eric Clapton plays it, and that's fine if you want to do that. For me, I've never thought about it that way. Like, it doesn't make any difference to me unless it's essential to the song or the learning or whatever, then that's fine. But most important is, how do I learn this so it makes sense in my brain when I'm playing it, and I can memorize it and it feels comfortable and all those parameters, because I'm the one that's playing it. I'm not just trying to mimic Eric Clapton or whoever the person might be. that's fine if I'm doing that from a learning perspective, but at the end of the day, it still has to come down to what feels best for me, if that makes sense. So as you're playing this, just think about, number one, memorizing it. Number two, the technique of the bends and the vibrato or whatever it is that you want to do. And then number three, most certainly, is the position that you might want to play this in to decide what feels most comfortable for you. And think about this anytime you learn really anything, is always trying to figure out what's the best way for you to play it. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Good luck with practicing this. Make sure you head over to guitarzoom.com to check out any guitar lesson stuff, membership, anything that we have that might help you. So take care and stay positive.